Now that we have the foundations in place, it's now time to practice it. And this section was designed so you can follow along with me, and you get a much better idea of how the PPF kit will actually work. In this section, we'll be covering 3 things. The first one is going to be testing your solutions to make sure you have the right mix. The second is going to be learning how to stretch. And lastly, we're actually going to be installing a mirror so you can get a much better idea of how the rest of the install is going to go. In the practice kit, you're going to grab the roll labeled A, and we're going to be using this to make sure that you have your slip solution mixed correctly. So grab your roll right here, and we're going to grab your mixed slip solution, and we're going to just spray the outer layer, okay? And then we're going to spray the fender part. I mean, you could do it in other parts, but I just recommend here because we're going to test if it's slipping downwards or if it stays there. As you're peeling, it's the hardest part of the test kit. You're going to go ahead and spray some slip solution and go ahead and finish peeling that. And what you're going to do is just place it on here. And the first thing we're going to be doing is, does it move? And you can see that at all parts of this, every area is moving. The next test that we're going to be doing is we're just going to leave it here, and we're going to wait 30 seconds. All right, so that's 30 seconds roughly. And what you're going to be doing is we're going to check that it didn't dry out. So you can see that even after 30 seconds, I have no problem moving this. Again, let me show you if this is a bad solution. And I'm going to use actually some of my Tack. So I'm going to go ahead and spray some Tack here. So if your solution doesn't have enough slip, and the 5 ml is your starting point, okay? And some areas you might need a little bit more slip, like areas that have a lot more humidity and it's really, really hot. You notice that when I move this isn't moving. It has a very difficult time. And if I actually move this middle part, it's not moving at all. This part, you hear that noise right there? It's having difficulty moving because there's not enough slip solution. I did it with the Tack solution just to kind of demonstrate that. But if you feel that, you definitely need a little bit more slip. And what I recommend doing is adding it little by little. So I would add 1 ml and then another ml until you get what I showed you just earlier. Lastly, if you have too much slip solution, it's going to be a lot harder for you because everything is going to want to come down. So this is a really good demonstration because there's some angle. I'm going to go ahead. I have another bottle. This is actually different from my other solution. I'm going to go ahead and spray a lot of soap underneath this section. I'm going to go ahead and spray here as well. You can see that it's foaming up a lot. And if you have too much slip, this is what it'll look like. You see, I put this down, and it's coming down on its own like this. That's way too much slip, right? And it's just, again, this is going to be very hard because it's not staying, and it's just wanting to come down on its own. And that's how you tell. If this happens, you're not going to be able to just grab this and just pour it out. So instead, what you want to do is, what I would recommend is to start all over and just filling up a new bottle and going a little bit lower. Same thing with earlier, go down 1 ml, and you want to keep doing that until you get the desired effect where it's not either, grabbing right away or just so much slip that it's just going down like that. And that's how you tell if you have the right slip solution. So now that we have the slip solution and the Tack solution mixed, and we've tested it in the piece A that you've used, we're going to teach you how to stretch. PPF can actually stretch 10 to 15%. And if you think about this, which is about a 12-inch strip, it could go about 2 inches max. But you really don't want to push that to the limit. So let me just show you exactly what I mean. So you're going to grab the B piece, and you're going to go ahead and spray some slip solution into this area. And for this practice module, it's going to be the same for Model S, Model 3, Model Y, really Model X, really anything out there, because the fog lights are very similar. And if you don't have a fog light that's similar like this, you could just find an edge that where you could use as a reference, and that's all you're doing for this exercise. Once you have this set up and you got some slip solution right on here, what you're going to do is you're going to peel your piece B and go ahead and peel it all the way. And we're going to go ahead and spray some slip solution, and you're going to just lay it down like so. Like I mentioned, what you're trying to do right here is you're trying to line it up to kind of this fog light and then make sure it goes up, because you're going to use this about how much you've actually stretched. So right now, this piece of PPF is completely, I guess, stretchless. There's no stretch at all. I really like this practice because you can see that there's actually a curvature and it's creating this fingers. And when you stretch across a certain area like this, those fingers will go away. I'll go ahead and tack this section, right? Because we're going to be using this as a reference. We're going to go ahead and tack this section. So I got my tack solution. Go ahead and flush out all my slip right there. We're going to go ahead and just spray a little bit of slip on top. And we're going to go ahead and tack this section. And look at that. We got it tacked pretty good. All right. So when you do this section, it's really important to get a good amount of tack. If you just have this area right here, it might be too little and eventually this will fall. But you can see right now, I used tack right here and I've tacked it where this is not moving at all. However, this is moving. So before I get into this, let me show you exactly what not to do first, and then I'll show you how, like what you actually need to do. So you can see right here, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this. I'm gonna try to not cover the camera. I'm gonna pull this and just stretch it really, really hard. So you can see that when I let go, watch what happens. You can see there's an amount of stretch right here in the corners. And what's gonna happen is eventually it will pull back. So when I let this go, look how much it pulls back, but it kind of deformed it a little bit, right, over here. And that's what I mean by pullback. So when you do this, look at this. You see how it comes back? That's what a pullback is. So when you're actually stretching, we got point A and point B right here. You're not trying to stretch right in this section, okay? You're trying to stretch this section. If you stretch the edge, you're gonna have a high risk. Most likely it will pull back. That's just how PPF reacts. So instead, we use something called the palm technique. So you're gonna hold it with your whole hand and you're gonna just move it. And your indicators, you see these fingers right here? You're trying to see if you can make that go away. And this is about 12 inches, right? Your piece for B is gonna be about 12 inches, and we're gonna try to make sure, we're gonna try to stretch it about half an inch, maybe to an inch or so, okay? So now that we have that set, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna practice, okay? Use your hand and look at this. You're gonna move it across, and I have no fingers in the top, okay? And you can see that I've barely stretched it, okay? I'm not even stretching it that much, okay? Maybe like 1/4 of an inch, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and use some tack solution in the edges. And we're gonna do the same thing. Use 2 hands. I'm gonna stretch it pretty heavily. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold it on the ends just for a few seconds. And then I'm gonna use some squeegee right here to squeegee it down. And you can see here, when I stretched it, you know it's stretching because look at the way the water is, right? It's stretching, so it's kind of like making the water go like this way, this horizontal, okay? So now that we have A, B tacked down, right? You got A and B tacked down. You can now move all the, I guess in this case you could go up, but we can move all the slip solution that's underneath down into an exit point. And you can see that there's not gonna be a pullback. Just for, I guess, demonstration purposes, I wanna show you what happens if we go too far with this. So let's go ahead and just spray a lot of slip right here. And I'm gonna stretch this as much as I can. Okay, and if you stretch too much, what happens? So here we go, I'm gonna just, oh man. Okay, that's a lot more than that first time. Okay, I stretched so much and I did it so wrong, right, on purpose. I stretched it this way, right? And when you do that, this part stretched, but not the middle stretched. So when that happened, it created this finger right here. And this is gonna be really hard to go because you can see that the material stretched this way, but what's happening here, it creates fingers like this. So This is what you don't want to do. So let's go ahead and get that back. And look at the pullback right here when I get it back. You see that moving? And it kind of goes back to its original state. There you go. And you can see it's slightly deformed over here, but for the most part, it did go back to the original state. I'm going to do this one more time to do it right. Again, I'm trying to get rid of all these fingers, right? Because you're trying to stretch this middle section instead of the edge. In all our kits, we provide like where the tack points are, where the slip, where you need a squeegee out and stuff like that. But one thing that you really have to remember is when you tack an area like this, you never want to go back to this area. Because what tack does is tack pretty much seals that area. So when I do this, look at what happens. You see, it doesn't want to go back. But when you do it, because you did, you actually created some sort of a line right here. Because that area is completely sealed. So same thing right here. I'm going to go back to the tacked area. Look what's happening. It doesn't want to go, and it's trying to find somewhere else. And what's going to happen is going to create bubbles in this area. Okay? So you cannot go back to where you tacked. So instead of doing that, you want to go outwards, right? And then go down to the middle. And then again, this is where I tacked. And then you want to exit where you didn't tack. But once you're done, we want to make sure that we go over it twice. So in the videos that we talk about, we're always going to do this for the most part. And we're going to go back to where we were. And then once you inspect it, and then you look at that there's no bubbles, there's nothing going on, you're going to do something called edge seal, right? So you're going to grab all the edges. And you're going to just make sure that all the edges are completely sealed. Just like that. And what this does is the A and B were the only areas that were tacked. So what that means is these areas, we just had slip and we just squeegeed it, right? So because it's not permanently tacked, what happens is this water right here, especially like the headlight area, it sits right here, especially in the 3 and the Y, right? It just sits here and it just slowly comes down into this area. Over time, what's going to happen is you're going to have a giant bubble right here. So when you seal it, it's not going to be able to do that. Now that you've learned how to stretch properly, you'll be better equipped for the next section. And for the last section, it's going to be about how to do your driver's mirror. And don't worry, you don't have to have it exactly like fully prepped, but you do want it pretty clean. And you're going to learn exactly how the course is going to work and how it's going to play out. So take your time. The C practice kit is literally just for practice. So we are going to ask you after you're done, even though it might be perfect, to take it off and then do it again, since it might not be properly prepped with the right solution. So if you have no problem with A, B, and C, and especially with C, you have no problem doing that, then you're going to be fine with the whole kit. So we're going to go ahead and show you the mirror module, and we'll see you in the next section. First off, you're going to spray your mirror with a lot of slip solution. What we're trying to do here is trying to get the contamination off the mirror one last time before we actually put the PPF. You're going to use squeegee strokes all the way through and even strokes until all water and slip solution is off. Shortly after, you're going to spray a lot more with slip solution and make sure you get generous with the slip. We're going to go ahead and peel and spray the inner part of the PPF and place it on the actual mirror. For the alignment, what you're going to be focusing on is the bottom edge and the right edge. Just make sure that you're aligned in the bottom and the right side, about 3 to 4 inches out. You're going to grab your tack solution and you're just going to peel back just a little bit, spray some tack solution, and put it back down. It can get a little bit misaligned, so just make sure you align it back to where it was. And what I like to do is use gentle strokes just to make sure that the squeegee doesn't move the PPF piece. And once you get it completely anchored, you could get a little bit more harder with your squeegee strokes. You'll feel that it is fully anchored and you're ready to stretch across the mirror. For this section, we're going to make sure we have enough slip solution underneath and on top of the PPF. What we're doing is we're stretching slightly across the mirror, and the indicator is we're going to get rid of what we call all the wrinkles. As soon as you don't have any wrinkles, that's how you know you have enough stretch. Once you get enough practice, we're going to go ahead and spray some tack solution onto the outer edge, And we're going to use our palm to stretch it across until all fingers in the bottom and top is gone. We're going to go ahead and squeegee down the middle and go downwards. Once we squeegee the bottom portion, go ahead and squeegee upwards, making sure you get all the wrinkles above it. If the fingers and wrinkles keep coming up, don't worry. All you need to do is spray some Tack solution, and that'll make it go away. You're going to go ahead and spray some Tack solution all around the edges, and this will ensure that it actually sticks and holds. Go ahead and do for the bottom edges and the other side edges as well. Don't forget to spray Tack solution on the top edge as well, and go ahead and squeegee upwards to get the Tack solution and anchor all the remaining edges. And what we're actually doing here is making sure that all edges are completely anchored so that you're setting it up for piece B. This is really important because we are seaming it between the two pieces together. Go ahead and grab piece B and spray slip solution on the bottom and the top side. Go ahead and lay it down. This doesn't require a lot of stretch. What we're going to be doing here is aligning the right part, and we're going to spray a little bit of Tack solution and gently align it so that it aligns with piece A and also aligns to the outer edge of the mirror piece. Once you feel pretty comfortable, be gentle with the piece. Again, there should be no stretch at this point. Go ahead and peel back and spray a little bit more Tack solution, and we're going to go ahead and gently squeegee the Tack solution out. When you're seaming, it's really important to make sure that it doesn't overlap and it's right butted against each other. Go ahead and squeegee the remaining Tack solution out to make sure it is fully anchored. Once that corner is tacked, you're going to go ahead and make sure that the bottom piece A and piece B is completely aligned and seamed together. There shouldn't be too much stretching involved in this process, since you did most of the stretching in piece A. You're going to make sure that it is loosely aligned and go ahead and spray some Tack solution where it meets together. You're going to gently align it so that all the edges are touching each other and again, not overlapping. What helps is running your fingers across, again, making sure that there is no overlap, and while you're running it across, using your squeegee and the pointy side to make sure that all slip and tack is out of the area. Once you have the bottom part completely anchored, go ahead and squeegee the top and the outer edge completely. You may have some fingers, but that's okay. We're going to be using some Tack solution to make sure that it stays down. Go ahead and spray some Tack solution where you see some fingers and wrinkles, and gently move your squeegee across to completely anchor that. It's easiest to go diagonally instead of going directly into it when you are squeegeeing out wrinkles. Go ahead and do it for the remaining fingers or wrinkles that you have left. Some fingers may be pretty persistent, but don't worry, just go ahead and spray more Tack solution and slowly get it out. If it continues to persist, one tip that I would recommend is just getting a towel and making sure that you absorb all the slip or tack so no moisture can get back into it. You have a small finger right here. I spray some Tack solution and let it rest just a little bit, and I gently make sure I get the Tack solution out, and then that makes sure that it goes away completely. We're going to go ahead and wipe it down with a clean microfiber to check our work, making sure that there are no bubbles. But keep in mind, if there are bubbles, make sure that you don't squeegee to the area that you tacked. So just a reminder, we tack the outer edges for piece A, and we tack the pointy area for piece B. Once you feel like your work is good, you're ready to get on to the next piece.